Welcome to The Girl Herd,
where we talk Texas football.
And a bunch of takes you've probably already heard.
But not from us.
Hey Herdies, you have Michelle and Angie and a very special guest today. He's been talking sports on air since 2009, Mr. Dan Mathews.
What's up? I'm honored. I mean, I know it took a Roman holiday to make it happen, but I'll try to make sure that I fill in for Dev well. And I mean, she's having a blast. I see this. You know, she's almost like Audrey Hepburn over there. It's a dated reference. Most of our audience is going to be like number one, like who, like how do you even know who that is? And you know, wasn't she Roman holiday? I don't know. I'm a random weird dude.
Yeah. That's hilarious. I know. I wish I was on an Italian summer vacation every summer. It just is like the quintessential summer vacation, I feel like.
She's got it going. That's for sure. Just, you know, just maybe she'll bring us back a bottle of wine or something.
Please.
Some recipes. Yeah.
Yeah, that too. Yeah. Bring the good stuff.
Yeah. Olive oil, all the things.
Oh yeah. Everything. All of it. We'll take it all.
I say recipes. I need her to cook them because I'm not going to do that.
I hear of her prowess for sure. I got to try this gumbo.
Yeah.
Oh yes, the gumbo is very good.
That's what I hear.
I know. We need to have a tailgate that's here in Houston when there's like, you know, do a little watch party. I'm volunteering her to make her gumbo.
I'm in.
Yes, we signed you up for the potluck.
That's it. You're in. Sorry. Yeah. Just think about how much everybody's going to enjoy it.
Yeah. If you're good, you're good.
Yeah. Give us a little background. So I guess we can start. So Dan had us on, was that last year?
Yeah, it was last year before Red River.
Last year. So we went on the radio station to chat all things Red River. Mm-hmm. So now we get the pleasure to be in the opposite seat. Now Dan's in the hot seat, essentially. So tell the people, again, like they might not know who you are if they're outside of Houston, what you do, how you got into this. And I guess tell the people who you're really a fan of. Maybe they saw your bracelet. I don't know.
Yeah. Well, we'll go ahead and, get that part out of the way. You know, in our business, never bury the lead. But have fun when y'all come to Death Valley in November. We can talk about that a little bit later on. Maybe give like a little bit of a how-to for folks from the 40 acres of, you know, how to handle Acadiana people and Cajuns and Creole and just everybody from southern Louisiana. But I'm on the morning drive with myself, Dan Mathews, on SportsTalk 790 every single weekday morning, 6 to 10 a.m. And been doing it now on the mornings since last March. I've had a couple of co-hosts in between. But the business being the business, it's now a solo for me now, but been in sports talk radio, as y'all mentioned, since 2009. And I was with another station when they were the Longhorn station here in town. So I don't know, maybe it's like a writer or something that whatever station I work for has got to be the Longhorn station. And then, you know, so there you go. And then Aggies think that I'm a homer for the Horns, which then it's like, oh boy, you don't want to see my other tweets, do you? Yeah, I mean, I've been doing it here in Houston, started in 2009, was here until October of 2012. In October, I moved to Atlanta, worked for a station there. Got let go from that station from budget cuts and was just freelancing for a little bit, and then caught on with the station I finished up with, 6A The Fan. Shout out to everybody there. And was with them from 2017 until August of 2023, and back here in Houston. And it's been a blast. It's been a lot of fun. Got to cover national titles with Georgia. Got to cover the Braves winning the World Series in 2021. They beat the Stros, which that part sucked. But I mean, still being able to be around all of that was awesome. And then being able to come back home was just something I couldn't pass up. And when I got that chance, I definitely wanted to jump back in. And it's been a blast ever since. It's been awesome to come home and talk about the teams I grew up rooting for.
Yeah, you're saying that you're a Longhorn homer and the Aggies get mad, but then you have this LSU bracelet, and then you also talked sports for Georgia. So, where your actual things lie, not necessarily Longhorns or Aggies.
Clearly, though, he's meant to be a Longhorn because the station keeps being the Longhorn station wherever he goes. So I think
to pull you in.
Truly deep down, it's meant to be.
No, absolutely, Angie. And then also, my brother and sister-in-law are diehard Longhorns.
Yeah.
Their little girls are already being raised where the Django Walker Texas Longhorn song is played almost every single Longhorn Saturday. And they know every single word to it, in addition to almost every single Taylor Swift song. So, we've got that whenever I go over to their house and watch games with them. So, yeah, it's funny. When I was in Atlanta and I was doing college football on the digital side, websites, and with our syndicated show that I did there, the Chuck Oliver show, that Tennessee fans, for whatever reason, would call me a Georgia homer. And I'm like, I don't really understand where you're getting that from. So then the beauty of it when stuff like that happens is you need the audience to hop in for you. And you need the audience to be like, dude, you're not even remotely close. And then the funny thing is one of my last acts that I did when I was in Atlanta it was right before Georgia won the national title. So good timing by me, I guess. I mean, maybe it's but I mean, I wrote a pretty lengthy piece for our website that I wasn't sure that Kirby Smart was a national championship head coach. And then he won back-to-back national titles. So of course, when I said that, then Georgia fans who think that Kirby can't do anything wrong, then they started coming after me. And it's just one of those that you have opinions, you're going to piss someone off. And it's something that when I was younger, it used to bother me. Now it's kind of like a really good buddy of mine and a mentor of mine in the business there in Atlanta. Shout out Matt Chernoff. He was the one that taught me diffusion with that, which was, dude, it's not that serious. I don't think you really necessarily hate me. I think you just hate what I said about your team. And again, it's one of those where I don't personally hate you. I just, it's something that somebody asked my opinion and I gave it. And it's not for everybody. I get it. But I guess while I'm still paid to give them, I'll try to give them as best, or I guess, as crappily as some people think that they come out.
Okay, so you mentioned that you wrote something about Kirby not being a championship coach. Does that mean then we need to get you to maybe write the same sentiments about Sark so then we win a natty this year?
That's it. For you, Angie, and for you, Michelle, and of course the vacationing Devin, I will volunteer. I will be tribute here for sure. Because I won't be doing that for the Aggies. Because I mean, of course, they are a program that has a very passionate fan base. And of course, a couple of years ago, did I maybe have a little bit too much to drink after Texas beat them and called them an embarrassment?
Oh, no.
Yeah, I might have done that. And, I've since made amends for it. I mean, look, I don't dislike Aggies. I think that a lot of their fan base, and it's funny how Texas Tech kind of took that over this offseason with the whole Sorsby thing.
Yeah.
But it's just they beat LSU. And of course, the one that always sticks out to me is Joe Burrow's first year, the 7 overtimes. And then the following year, making commemorative cups. My only point to them is I'm you do not make it easy on yourself. You do understand this, right? Yeah. When you print up commemorative cups for a win that made them 7-5 or 6-6. I don't even know what it was. That it was really kind of an inconsequential win for whoever got it. I mean, I guess for LSU, they could have maybe had a way to sneak into the college football playoff. Probably not. But I mean, still, it's stuff like that where all I say to Aggie fans is I'm you've got to have tangible success. You've been in the conference since 2012. How many times have you been to Atlanta?
Yeah.
You've been to Athens once, and that's not going to the SEC championship game. Texas got in there their first year. So, I mean, it's when you start actually winning meaningful games, and I'm not talking about beating LSU a couple of years in a row, which we do thank you this last year because it got the albatross that was Brian Kelly out of Baton Rouge, and we're happy for that.
Albatross.
But you almost, a lot of them want to put up a national championship banner in October, and it's brother, sister in Christ, you still got November, you still got December, and you got January. And those 3 months have not been kind to you.
No.
So you got to kind of take that next step and be able to get over the hump from there. And I'm not going to lie. I mean, last year, as mouthy as A&M fans got when Marcel Reed threw that interception in the end zone against Miami, I got hyped. Like, I was like, you guys have been really, really, really pushing me. And when that happened, it was, you not only lost, you also lost on your home field, and you couldn't score against them. So it's just like, guys, like, take that next step and then start to put the chest out a little bit. Like, Alabama, when I was in Georgia, would be one of the weirdest programs ever, where they were incredibly sensitive to any type of criticism, which you get. Don't go after Nick Saban. But like, it was almost like kind of this like weird inferiority complex that like I almost had to have conversations with them all the times of why. Like, you've won almost every single national championship. You're in the SEC championship every single year. Like, and then, you know, like, it was almost like people like took on this mindset like they were part of the team there. And it's like, you ain't part of it. You're watching it. Like, you know, the standards that Nick Saban and everybody talks about, like, that has nothing to do with you. Like, you getting drunk in the quad and going to Bryant-Denny Stadium has nothing to do with what's happening on the field. So, I don't know. I mean, I guess it's a good thing that I've managed to maybe now piss off 3 fan bases. But hey, we're getting primed for SEC Media Days here in a couple of weeks. So I guess I better get in the mid-season form already.
Is that when is that? When are
it's going to be, it's a couple of weeks. It's
end of July, right?
Yep. There you go. So we'll be in Tampa, and as soon as you hit Media Days, that's when it's time for football season. So we are almost there.
I cannot wait for SEC Media Day. I feel like it is just going to be unique, one of those moments where you get the popcorn and there's going to be some stuff happening, right? Like what Sark has said, there's been comments that he's made about Ole Miss. There's things that Lane have said about Ole Miss. I'm like, everybody, I feel like is just going to be stirring the pot. And let's be honest, Lane is always a walking billboard. Add in Coach O to that mix, and it just, you know, it's going to either be really great or like really crazy.
It's never a dull moment. I mean, Of course, you know, I started going to Media Days back in 2013, and I've been to every single one of them since. And from it being in Hoover to Nashville to Atlanta to all these other places, and this year it's going to be in Tampa. You're 100% right, Angie. Like, those were the days of Steve Spurrier. So you always knew that Spurrier was going to say something that was going to get things going. The very first year was Johnny Football getting kicked out of the Manning Passing Academy. So then, of course, there was all of that. AJ McCarron was back at Bama. So, of course, you know, you got to ask AJ McCarron about Catherine and, you know, about winning the national title and Brent Musburger and all of that. So no, you're not wrong. If I'm not mistaken, I mean, I'm trying to remember the order. I do know that for whatever reason, Brian Kelly always wanted to go day one. Lane's going the final day. And I'm almost wondering if it was kind of one of those where it's like, Lane, when do you want to go? Because the final day at that point, it's almost, I would say, trying to think of like, you know, you go on like a week and a half, 2-week long vacation. And at the end of it, you're just kind of like ready to go home. Like, you love where you're at, like, you know, being in Hawaii or wherever it is, like, it's awesome. Like, you know, you're an idiot for feeling that way because like, as soon as you get back to reality, then it's like, you know, oh my God, like, why would I ever want to leave that? But like, when it gets to that Thursday, we're all at that point, we're hungover, we're probably, you know, sleep deprived. I mean, it's, you know, all of the work that we've put in that week. So then it's kind of a little easier on that Thursday. So maybe that's what Lane is banking on. But we also know that through Vanity Fair and everything else, Lane has no problem creating problems for himself.
No. Well, I feel like that's part of it too, of like, he's going to hear all of the things that have been said on the days that lead up to him. And then who knows, right? Then it's just, you don't know what is about to fly out of his mouth.
Well, I mean, there's that. And then kind of a conspiracy theory that I don't know if y'all have brought this up is part of Sark with saying what he said about Ole Miss. And then, of course, here in Houston, backtracking on it just a little bit of, you know, I just used them as an example. Yeah. I think that was him looking out for his guy. Like, I think that because, you know, all of the the spotlight and, you said this about Oxford and leaving Ole Miss and Ole Miss fans, we hate you and all of this other stuff, that it was almost kind of one of those, like, maybe, he shot him a text and was like, hey, look, I got you on this one. All right. Like let me throw something out there. And then of course, then everybody's going to start coming after me, but I've got a little bit more goodwill with the media and fan bases and everything like that. Like I don't know. I mean, maybe that's something we can hopefully get to the bottom of in a couple of weeks.
I think it could be very likely. Like we always talk about their text chain. Like we wish we could be a fly on the wall in that text chain of like how it works. And yeah, if Lane is entertaining regardless of what happens. So I can only imagine. And Sark's probably like, my name's going to be in the media regardless. Okay.
Right.
Someone's going to be coming for me.
But that's why I feel like that Saban coaching lineage tree, like the roots are strong. So yes, we're now at competing schools in the same, conference, but we still kind of grew up together as little pups in this. And
oh yeah, no, I mean the Saban rehabilitation clinic was a real thing, and really, I guess. No, it was not like that. I'm just saying the coaching rehabilitation because it was. I mean, like when Lane got there, he had the worst reputation of being a daddy's boy. He's getting all of his opportunities. I mean, my God, Daniel Tosh did the whole thing, Kippen's Crimson Corner, making fun of him. One of the calls was like, I can't wait to see where you fail upwards to next. And then he got to Alabama and Nick Saban put hands on him. And it was almost kind of like, oh, Lane's actually a good coach. And then he really, like, the kind of like weird time warp that happened was COVID, when he was like one of like the more like rationally speaking people about trying to play college football. And it was just like, who is this guy? Like, where did you come from? So, and then of course, like, Sark had issues that lost him a job. And then he went to Alabama and was able to, kind of rejuvenate and renovate, I guess, his reputation as a coach. And I mean, he got Texas to do something they had never done, and that's go with the coordinator for head coach after trying to find the next big time name. And finally they got a guy and were able to allow him to get his second opportunity, and it's worked out incredibly well. Yeah,
we love Sark. I mean, out of everything that has happened, we've been through some down years, and everything he has brought to Texas and the culture is definitely you can feel the change and the shift, and it makes us excited to watch these guys again and see where they'll go. Even though, Aggies will be like, where'd you go? Didn't go to playoffs last year.
You just, okay.
I know.
All right. Yeah,
I played right into what you were saying.
that's very good by you, because like, take me, for example, with LSU. Like, LSU baseball is obviously really good. Last year was tough, and I understand fans will be fans. But a couple of years ago, they lost in the regional, and A&M fans were chirping me and other LSU fans about LSU baseball. And A&M that year was making the run to the College World Series. They would lose to Tony Vitello in Tennessee, which it's A&M, that happens. Yeah. But my whole response back, and it was only to one person, was, do not chirp us. You don't have any room to talk in this. I said, I have seen 6 national titles in my lifetime, 6 of them. Your grandparents weren't even born the last time that A&M won anything of consequence as a national title. So I've seen more in my 40 years on this planet than you have. And that goes back to, really, I mean, baseball was doing it before, but then Nick Saban gets there. They win in 2003, they win in 2007. And then, of course, Coach O, Joe Burrow, and everybody winning in 2019. So, like, football-wise, like, I've seen 3 of them. So, I mean, it's just like, man, I mean, that's the thing. Like, it's rich them coming at Texas about that. It's like Texas 2 out of the last 3 years. What is it, 3 out of the last 4 years? Math sometimes.
Yeah.
But, like, they've been regularly in the playoff. Right. Like, that's what makes no sense to me, is chirping Texas about that. Like, you've been there. You've been to the SEC championship game. Like, you're trying to get past that. And if A&M had done that a couple of times, then I think it would be one of those, okay, I'm kind of willing to listen to you. And they looked like they were on their way to doing that last year, but you didn't do it. So, I mean, until you do it, I don't really think you have a conversation.
It's still kind of silly that because they lost to us, they didn't make it. But they'll make the narrative whatever they want to do. But
well, and then it was where I think Texas last year unfortunately kind of ran into the same problem that Georgia did in 2007, where Georgia at that time was the hottest team in college football. And the problem is they lost to South Carolina early in the season. They got smacked by Florida, and they had 2 losses. And that was back then when you had 2 losses, you had no shot. You're not making the BCS. But I think Texas ran into that too, because after Red River last year, Texas might have been the best team in the country. Like they really were playing that well. It's unfortunate that Ohio State happened week 1, but it's also too where you go to Ohio State. The most unfortunate of all their losses they had last year was Florida, and it was inexcusable. Georgia Saturday night, Athens. That's a tough place to play, but to not only be able to bounce back from that, and then the A&M game, it wasn't even close. Like Texas dominated them. And Texas actually even had a run game in that game. And it was just like this vaunted Aggie defense, and you guys are giving up ground yards? Like, ain't good.
It ain't. But yeah, the Aggies, like, it never fails. They're going to poke any bear that they get a glimpse of when they even have no ground to walk on. But you talked a little bit about Texas and how we finished the year last year. Give us your thoughts. Like, how do you think the Horns are going to do in 2026?
Well, it really, the best answer is a shorter version, and it's twofold. Arch is number 1. He was able to absolutely get past all of the overrated talk and this guy's not as good as we thought he was, all of those things. And for a time last year, he looked like that was the truth. It really looked like, man, is this another, I guess, lesser version of Chris Sims at a certain point, even though Chris Sims got him to the Big 12 championship. So he actually was able to do some winning. I know that beating OU was tough, but still. But to be able to come back last year, beat OU, beat A&M, and then finish off the way that they did, that was huge. I think the other part of it is is Steve Sarkisian as a play caller. We talked about like all the things he said this offseason. Sark has put a bullseye on himself, because I think it all started when he let go of Pete Kwiatkowski and his line about, I had to rob Peter to pay Paul, in terms of how the offense was called. I think that's basically what it was. And if I'm getting that context wrong, then I apologize. Texas fans were not getting after you last year, Sark, because the defense and the secondary, which was not one of the better ones, was struggling. They were getting after you because it looked like your offensive scheme was not evolving, and that's what was hurting this team. You score a couple of more times at Ohio State last year, you beat Ohio State. That wasn't your defense.
Right.
Georgia didn't go great, but they also, aside from one offensive drive, were not able to do anything that entire game. Now, a lot of that could be Kirby Smart, Glenn Schumann, that group, which obviously you pluck from that tree and bring back a guy in Coach Boom and Will Muschamp, who is not only incredibly good with defenses, because everywhere he's been, head coach, defensive coordinator, his groups have performed. His groups have been really good. I think the other part too is, even though you lose some really good secondary guys from last year, Manny Muhammad, Michael Taff, that's tough to replace. I think that if you've got a guy that can be able to bring along a group of young guys and have them be leaders of that group, it's Will Muschamp. He's done it everywhere he's been. Go back to the first time he was at Texas. The names that he churned out, Earl Thomas, Blake Gideon. Just all of those guys that were able to just be absolute stompers out there. That's huge. So having a relatively experienced offensive linebacker is massive. One of the concerns that I think you had last year also too was the defensive front talent, young talent, but still at the same time, that's also something that, again, you're going on the road to Ohio State. That's not going to be easy to try to say, hey, welcome to college football. Oh, by the way, if that wasn't tough enough, now you're going to go into the SEC and play Georgia, play OU, play all of these other teams and try to be able to run the table and get this team to the college football playoff. at a certain point, it was an expectation that I just don't think could be met last year. But defensively, they're going to be strong. They're probably going to be one of the most improved groups in the country. And then obviously getting Cam Coleman and having Ryan Wingo back is massive, because receiver has been an issue for this team ever since you had Jordan Whittington and that crew on campus, because that was the last really good group of receivers that Steve Sarkisian has had. You can say, Golden and people like that were fine. They were fine. They weren't going to be reasons that you won games. I think that Cam Coleman and Ryan Wingo can be reasons that you win games this year. And with the quarterback, showing what he did last year, I don't think there's any reason why this team shouldn't be, if not the best in the SEC, one of the best in college football.
Yeah, everything you said, obviously, but we have talked a lot about Will Muschamp and Gideon returning, and I think it's a huge change that's going to take place this year. And even with, again, some of our favorite defensive players leaving and heading to the draft, I think we'll see big changes regardless of having some new players in certain positions. And I think Ohio State last year kind of opened some people's eyes to being like, okay, even though we have a lot of talent, they weren't playing together effectively as they should have been. That was Arch's, first game really as a starter, besides a couple where he went in for Quinn. But so I think I'm excited that Ohio State is game 2 this year. It's in Austin. Should be quite the difference that's happening. I know we match up with them quite well, but it'll still be an interesting season. And then we, of course, have LSU later down the stretch and into November. So,
yeah, and you bring up a good point too about it being week 2, because it was those years with Brian Kelly there where they would play those tough neutral site games week 1.
Yeah.
And it got to a point where they were trying almost at the last minute to find week 0 games, because both years they lost to Florida State. Florida State had a week 0 team. I think SC did before they played them in Las Vegas, but regardless, he still didn't show up in that one. Getting that first week is massive. And that's why, it was so funny when it was the whole war of words between he and Joey McGuire. And it was McGuire's side, where I was like, wait a minute, you can't half-heartedly do the any place, anywhere, anytime thing. If you're going to throw out a challenge and you're going to say, play us, then you can't say, well, you can come to Lubbock, or, you know what, I've talked to Stephen Jones and we can go to AT&T Stadium. Yeah, I'm sure that Chris Del Conte in Texas wants to give up that revenue for not only the program, but also for the city of Austin for the first weekend, because you could be playing against, St. Mark's Episcopal that week, and people are going to show up because it's the first game of the season, and they might leave at the half because it's hotter than bejesus there, and you're just like, why do I want to sit here and watch a 50-0 D kicking? But too, at the same time, you want to be able to get that experience and be able to get those guys out there and kind of get that feel. And then the following week, it's going to be a massive atmosphere for Ohio State, because, just like you, they're thought to be able to do some really good things this year with San and crew back.
Yeah. And like what you said, last year was week 1, right? I think we just didn't even understand, or people put the, cart before the horse kind of thing, or whatever. But it's more get the jitters out. These guys are all playing for the first time on a real stage together, and that makes a difference, whether it's whatever Episcopal school that they play in week 1, or if something happens in week 0. But I think it will be a shift that we get to do this year, at least.
Yeah, and you can play 7-on-7 as much as you want. You can do as much in practice, but real game time situation, there's nothing like it, right? You can emulate it as much as you can, but once those lights turn on, once that adrenaline is really pumping and you're in front of that many fans, it is totally different.
Well, and I think that it is important to play a really good school early on in the season. I remember Nick Saban used to talk about why they would play all those neutral site games against, USC, Michigan, all of those schools early on in the year, which Bama was just at a different level than everyone else. So it really didn't matter where you played them, but it was still also it's all right, they're already playing a tough enough schedule in the SEC, and they're playing that. So you can't say that they're paper tigers at a certain point.
Yeah.
And I know that, this is going to be kind of a painful memory for Texas fans, but again, sometimes losses do lead to better things in the future. Is coming off the Sugar Bowl. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
sure you all were fired up when they beat Georgia in the Sugar Bowl and Sam Ellinger's up there. We're back, all that kind of stuff. And then they played LSU the following week. From the LSU side of things, I think LSU absolutely went into that game where they had confidence in their offense. And I remember seeing the footage from the Manning Passing Academy that summer, and they were talking about Joe Brady, helping out with the RPOs and doing all of that. And I remember Joe Burrow had said, "We're going to surprise some people offensively." And me and everybody else, because it's like, wait a minute, capable quarterback play at LSU, we don't do that. Like, that's just
Oh, no.
it's not even it's not even in the remote conversation.
Yeah.
So then they go out that week, and I think they played McNeese, and they smacked them. They crushed them. But, of course, a lot of people, hey, it's McNeese, whatever. And then the following week, where, I mean, it was not only falling behind, but then immediately responding. And oh, by the way, then we found out pretty quickly, that Jamar Chase guy, he's pretty good. Justin Jefferson, he's pretty good.
Elite.
Randy Moss's son is pretty good. Thaddeus Moss is pretty good. Clyde Edwards-Helaire is pretty good. Terrace Marshall, who had a couple of touchdown catches in that game, a couple of huge catches. He went on to be an NFL receiver. So, like, it is one of those that sometimes you can overlook a team. I don't think Texas is going to be overlooked. But two, I mean, being able to get that first game against Texas State, the I-35 rival, and be able to get that one out of the way, which, I mean, Texas State now is a power school, right? I mean, they're, I guess, technically still, because now they're in the Pac-12. So, I mean, it's not like it's old FCS Texas State. Should you win that game convincingly? Sure, you should. But, I mean, you actually have Division I FBS players on that field. So, I mean, I think that's going to be a good enough test for them to be able to get going the following week.
I honestly, though, would rather be overlooked than for us to be so overrated and overhyped like we were last season, because then that just, I feel like it set us up and it got into like the mind frame and like all of the things of our players and our team, and then it was just kind of so hard. It took them a minute to get out of it, and then but once they found their groove and figured things out and things started gelling and mixing, then they were electric. So I'm like, yes, please don't rank us number one. Like, don't do it. Let us just hang out, be under the radar a little bit, and let us see what we can do on the field, and then talk about us.
Right. I mean, I think that it's also too, I mean, the team matters. It absolutely does. And the guys that are in that room that are sitting up front, they matter.
Yeah.
I mean, there are teams that can be preseason number one and be just fine with it. As a matter of fact, they're like, this is what we expected. This is what we're ready for. And now it's up to us to be able to go out there and prove people right. Or also, too, the people who are like, oh, it's ridiculous, they're way overrated, and they're looking for any reason to say that you're overrated. So culture matters. And I mean, that's another thing that Steve Sarkisian has talked about this offseason, is saying that they've worked on their culture and that they started building this team early on in the offseason. And now it's going to be, okay, are you able to prove that on Saturdays? I think that, again, getting back to Arch Manning, he could have very easily last year listened to all the people who were saying he's overrated, he's not good. And that could have continued to creep into his game. It didn't. He got better. And I think a huge part of that is himself. Obviously, you know who his family is. So I'm sure that probably he had some good people advising him on how to handle this, because he's not only got a famous grandfather, but he's also got two of the most famous quarterbacks that ever played football that are his uncles. And, I know I heard Eli talk about this offseason that he doesn't, just give out advice. He just tells them, like, hey, if you've ever got anything, like, I'm here, I'll help you out with that. So I'm sure that probably he's even reached out to Peyton and Eli of, hey, how do I handle this? How do I go about this? And I mean, I think that that's massive. And I also think too, just the way that he handles himself is, he could very easily be looked at as, you're the privileged kid, you're the rich kid, you've got the Manning name, like, you don't have to put in the work. But it doesn't seem like that he carries himself that way, which, I mean, that matters. I mean, being genuine matters, and guys in that locker room know when you're faking it or when you're being yourself. And he seems like that he's the type of guy that is willing to not focus on that part of it, let others bring that up about him, and just be a guy that's, willing to be there for his team. So, yeah, I mean, I think that this is a group that, maybe it is one of those. And sometimes we see that, Angie. Like sometimes we see teams that have to go through a disappointing season by their standards to then have a strong finish. And I'm a big believer that, Texas winning that bowl game last year against Michigan was massive because, I mean, you do carry that into the offseason. You do carry it as, all right, hey, at least we capped that one off with a win. We got 10 wins. But we all in this room know that 10 wins isn't good enough in Austin. I mean, in certain cases, 10 wins and nothing else can get you fired if you do that enough.
Yeah, I agree. I mean, it's easy to say that as like a fan who, okay, we didn't get to the playoffs, so now I'm going to say, but like, no, I mean, I actually did enjoy the Michigan game and I thought it was huge. And I was also of the opinion, when everyone was ragging on the team at like the Florida game after it happened and talking about Arch, I was like, y'all need to look at the full picture here. And like, if anything, Arch is the reason we were even close. Like it showed how much he wants this. And he like definitely kept showing that throughout the rest of the season. And the ending, for sure, he was like, all right, if I got to be a one-man team here, I'm going to do it, which I know spoke volume to his teammates and then here in the future as well. So, and I mean, he very, very easily could have just like bowed down and been like, all right, why am I here? I could be, other places. But I think I agree with you that all of that speaks volumes to who he is. We talk about it all the time, all of his media stuff. He cracks us up. He has seemingly a very great, personality and is very fitting. And I think, from everything we've seen, like if they are to do preseason number one and whatever it may be, this team would handle it differently than they did last year. I think we just kept being like on that cusp year after year that we wanted it so bad. And so we just,
Sure.
let that get to us a little too much.
Yeah, I mean, and I think that, just kind of getting back to what I said about like sometimes you have to be a year behind in order to get a year ahead.
Yeah.
And I mean, and that might have been what it was. I mean, I think that a lot of people were believing that that was a team that could go to Ohio State, win that game. And I think if they win that game, he plays a little bit better. He gets off to a little bit of a better start, then maybe Florida doesn't happen. And, and Florida was a disappointing game. Kirby in Georgia, I mean, I saw it numerous times. It was you go one dimensional against him, it ain't going to go well for you. And with a lack of a run game, I mean, that's what you saw. If you can run the football against Georgia, then it opens other things up. If you can't run the football against them, then just like I said about Will Muschamp, Kirby Smart and his defenses are the exact same way. That secondary will come downhill against you and they will absolutely limit you. And that's what they did, unfortunately. But I mean, again, I think it goes back to let's just call what this era is. I mean, now it's really only as strong as how good are you in the transfer portal? And I think that it was good on Sark and good on Texas to finally say, hey, if we're going to spend some serious money for guys, we need offensive playmakers. We need guys that can be able to help us out there. Hollywood Smothers, obviously, trying to be able to build up the running back group. That's huge. I mean, I already talked about Cam Coleman. That's huge. Ryan Wingo is a guy that obviously was a couple of years ago, but still, I mean, is there as a returner. So, I mean, the transfer portal is great, but I also think, though, too, that it can really go one of two ways for you. I mean, when Lane was at Ole Miss, you saw that he was able to work the portal incredibly well and continue to win that way with basically a one-year roster every single year. I think that the programs that are the best are the ones that can not only be able to develop their own guys, because nobody's going to sit and wait anymore. Like you get a 5-star on campus and they're not playing day one, they're going to be like, why am I here? Like I've got 15 other places that wanted me there, and I had 4 other hats on the table that I could just pick up one of those hats and go there as a redshirt freshman and be able to actually start my career. So I think that it is important to not only get guys that buy in, but I think it's equally and maybe even more important that you're getting the right guys out of the transfer portal. I mean, I think that you can very easily go get some guys because they're a huge name, but then as soon as they get to campus, they're going through off-season workouts and maybe they're, not running all the way through the line, or they're kind of, slacking off in their off-season lifts. And you've got guys who look around and go, oh, I get it. You're here for a paycheck. Cool. That's awesome.
Well, and I think that's something that UT and the staff has done a really good job of too in the portal is finding the cultural fit too. Of, we talk about this in outside of sports too, and like what you said, they went out and not only did they find the talent, but also the guys that really want to work. Yes, they are getting paid a lot of money to perform on a football field, but they also have been some like grinding it out and workouts and summer practices and all of the things which you have to have, just like what you said.
No, it's massive. I mean, because that's how you win. I mean, for all of, at times the criticism that Kirby could have, this is just speaking off of my examples. So now I'm sure that most Texas fans are going to think that I'm a Georgia homer. But I mean, I also, I lean into it pretty good because the program was good to me. Like I really, I've got a lot of really good friends in the program there from my time in Atlanta. And, of course, if they're not playing these guys, then, definitely want, them to do well. But, that was always his big thing is, I mean, he even had the line of, if you're looking to come here for a paycheck, we're not the place for you. And I think that the programs that are able to not only exhibit that, but then also really be able to sell guys on that, then you're getting the right guys. I mean, I think in certain cases, look at a program like USC. I mean, like they're ones that come to mind where it seems like they'll spend the money, but then the question becomes for Lincoln Riley and everybody else there, like, are you actually building a program or are you just trying to get a winning season? Because it seems like you're trying to do the second part. And you can if you get the right group and they're able to lock in for 6 months, then yeah, you can have a really special season. But trust me, I've seen a lot of them here at LSU where they've been able to have special seasons. And then the following year, it's 8-4, 7-5, stuff like that, where you're probably not going to win the national title every single year, but you at least want to know when you come off the field after hoisting up that golden, whatever the hell it is, and being able to have the confetti fall on you, that it's not, coach and staff and everybody immediately coming off the stage and being like, well, shit, boys. I think that next year is going to have our work cut out for us. I mean, you want to be able to avoid that as much as possible. In today's college football, it's tough. But that's why it's a credit to the programs that are able to keep enough guys around. And then even in some cases too, where you find out, hey, the 5-star that we signed, yeah, maybe he's not a fit here. Maybe it's time for you to go look at another school.
You say that as we're fighting for a commit right now. Dan.
Oh, of course. Yeah. Absolutely.
Well, but are we not fighting for a commit?
Well, that's it. I mean, look, it's the big boy world. And that's the thing too, is I think I had this conversation with y'all once, is that Texas fans, I'll give y'all credit. Y'all have caught on to the SEC pretty quickly. Because obviously, I mean, I guess what? Texas came in 24. So I had 11 years of a head start in terms of being in SEC country and seeing exactly what it was. And Texas fans found out from day one when them and Tennessee fans started arguing with each other about who the real UT is.
Yeah.
To which, had I known y'all back then, I would have said, you need to be very, very careful because Vol Twitter is mean. They are mean, nasty, cruel people. And they will absolutely, as Brandon Walker of Barstool once said, they will absolutely get after your ass on Twitter, and they will. But it's fun. It's fun. But y'all know now that this isn't a September to February thing.
No.
It is then the off season is when the real fun stuff happens, because then it's you lost a transfer or you didn't get a signing or a coach leaves and goes to another program or somebody says something at a chicken and green bean dinner or just like whatever it is, like there's always something. It's the gift that keeps on giving. And I mean, I know that some people outside of it will say it's the unintentional comedy, but I mean, it really is. Like, it's one of the funnest leagues to be in the country because there is never nothing to talk about. I mean, even during basketball, baseball, whatever season it is, people are always looking to Memorial Stadium, to Sanford Stadium, Tiger Stadium, Bryant Denny. You get my point here. Everybody's always looking to what's happening on the football field.
Well, I think it's funny. We've talked about this a little bit too. I feel like it's been a little bit quiet, right? Like since the Ole Miss conversation, since the comments, Brandon Sorsby like took up all of the air in college football for however many weeks that was, and now everybody's like, maybe something happened over at Georgia, but we don't know because everybody was just talking about Texas Tech, and I'm like, not really that mad about it now. Somebody else knows how it feels.
Well, no, 100%. And, it's also one of those that, LSU, of course, got involved in this because Lane, of course, where Lane had Sorsby on campus. And I think this is public knowledge now, but he had Sorsby on campus. And then, of course, found out that Levitt, I think, was either going to go to Miami or he was going to Tennessee. I can't remember where he was going. And that was the infamous Lane going to Knoxville, like where it was. Because I think he pretty much knew that Sorsby was going to go to Texas Tech is where I'm going at with that. So he was like, well, I need to find a quarterback. So then go there, put the charm offensive on and get Sam Levitt. But the happiest person of all of that happened with Sorsby and Texas Tech? Lane Kiffin.
Lane, I'm sure.
Can you imagine the just absolute crap storm that he would have had to deal with on top of everything else, where he's already not well liked? I think that he started to rehabilitate his image just a little bit with, the hot yoga and juice and all of this other stuff and feeling like, oh man, the guy's been saved by Oxford. He's never going to leave Oxford. And then there's the Ole Miss side of this too that cracks me up, where it's like they're going through the playoff, and I'm having people tell me, "Oh, this is all Pete Golding. This is all Pete Golding." I'm like, get out of here. This is all Pete Golding? Really? None of it has to do with Charlie Weiss Jr. or Lane Kiffin or anybody else that was in your program. It had nothing to do with them. So I'm looking forward to the day that Ole Miss loses at the end of their season to Mississippi State in the Egg Bowl, and they finish that year 8-4, 7-5, and then everybody calling in to my guys on Super Talk Mississippi and yelling at them about Pete Golding sucks, Pete Golding's overrated, we settled for a coach. It's coming. It will happen. I don't know if it's going to happen this year, but it is going to happen. Like you're Ole Miss. Your success was Lane Kiffin in a couple of years of Hugh Freeze. And may I remind you, Ole Miss fans, that the happiest moment you had up until these last couple of years was a Sugar Bowl win. I think it was against Baylor. I can't remember who they beat that night. But I remember that offseason, they were selling commemorative turf. Even if you spend enough, you could get one of the powder blue helmets. Like, it was like, that was your national championship. And you want to chirp other programs about winning? Like, just like I was saying about A&M earlier, like, Ole Miss fans, like, I know what it's like to go to Atlanta. You don't. I know what it's like to see my team win a national title. Same answer there. Like, no, we came to your front door. We knocked on your front door and said, we're here for your coach. Well, we don't want you to take our coach. We really like him. No, you don't understand what we're saying. We're taking your coach. Like, it's decided. He's coming with us. Not a lot of programs can do that, and LSU was able to do that. So, sorry, Ole Miss.
Boo-hoo, cry somewhere else.
That's it. It's just like Belgians crying about Balogun. It's just like, hey, they lifted the card. You want to be upset with somebody, be upset with FIFA. Don't be upset with us. Yeah. I ain't in this world to do you any favors. I'm the hunted one here.
It's messy.
It's the best. It's fun for us.
Yeah, it keeps our lives very lively.
Mm-hmm.
For sure.
Dan, we have loved every second of you coming to hang out with us today. We can't wait to see what happens this season and to continue to hear from you and all the things that you're going to say on 790 as we get rolling into the season.
Oh, and Michelle, Angie, all the best. I mean, obviously what started out with y'all coming in studio with us on the morning drive became a friendship too, So, I mean, that's an even cooler part of this. And no, I mean, thank y'all so much. Big fans, as I told y'all before. And I've gotten my brother and sister-in-law are going to hate this because it's don't mention anything about our lives, but the nieces, Taylor, Blake, and Maddie, they love the Girl Herd too. So definitely have more Longhorn fans that are listening, and that are following along every single week. And no, I mean, you both call, Devin, all of y'all, whenever y'all call, I'm here. I'm here because, like I said, y'all become great friends, and really, really appreciate that first and foremost.
Making us blush, Dan.
I know. No, it's been great. And we always appreciate your takes. And yeah, appreciate you coming and hanging out with me and Ange while Devin is off frolicking in Italy.
Hey, no, anytime, anytime, anyway. And then, of course,
Go
you know,
US.
USA.
hopefully, you know, the boys keep it going. Let's get a couple of goals out of Balogun tonight to really piss off international soccer even more. And yeah, no, I'm fired up. I'm ready to go.
I know you mentioned FIFA, and I was like, and now it's time to go watch USA play.
Let's go. USA. Let's go.